We have often heard about migratory birds, but few people have wondered where and why they fly. In this video, you will learn what migratory birds are, why they undertake such migrations, and you will also discover several species of migratory birds. Who are migratory birds? Let's find out who migratory birds are. First, it's important to note that birds that live in one region year-round without seasonal migration are called sedentary birds. Sedentary birds include the house sparrow, rock pigeon, and crow. These birds do not migrate regardless of the weather or the availability of natural food sources, and they often rely on humans for food. Sedentary birds are also referred to as wintering birds. Migratory birds are birds that make regular seasonal migrations. There are hundreds and even thousands of species of migratory birds. Some are very small, such as the European robin or the redstart, while others are large, like the mute swan and the common flamingo. Migratory birds cover significant distances. Their migrations occur in several stages, with birds stopping to rest and feed along the way. Migratory birds eat the food they are accustomed to. If a bird's natural diet consists of insects or berries, it will feed on the same during its stops. The larger the migratory bird, the higher its flight speed during migration and the longer the distance it can cover without rest. For example, large migratory birds can fly at speeds exceeding 80 km per hour, while smaller ones fly at about 30 km per hour. Nevertheless, small migratory birds are capable of flying for up to 3 days non-stop and covering over 4,000 kilometers. Large migratory birds mainly migrate in flocks, forming V-shaped formations that can include dozens of birds. This looks quite spectacular. Most small migratory birds travel alone or in small groups at low altitudes. However, there are exceptions. Some species of small birds migrate in enormous flocks. By the way, seasonal migration in birds does not always happen by flying. For example, many species of penguins migrate by swimming and can cover thousands of kilometers in the water. The emperor penguin migrates to its breeding grounds on foot. Australian emus also migrate on foot during seasonal droughts. In addition to sedentary, or wintering, birds and migratory birds, there are also nomadic birds. Nomadic birds make flights that are not seasonal. Their movements are driven purely by the search for food. Examples of nomadic birds include the titmouse and the bullfinch. Why do migratory birds fly south? Where and why do migratory birds fly? In fact, the answers to these questions are quite simple. Migratory birds fly from north to south to spend the winter. Sometimes bird migration is related to breeding, but mostly it is about finding food. The main signal for migratory birds is the shortening of daylight hours. Year after year, temperatures in the same month may vary, but the shortening of daylight with the arrival of autumn always happens. When the daylight shortens, the time available for feeding decreases for migratory birds, and it also signals that soon, due to cold weather, food will become scarce. That is why migratory birds begin their migration to southern regions. For some birds, migration starts earlier, for others later. But for northern regions, it is always connected with the approaching winter. In southern regions, it can be the opposite. The arrival of migratory birds signals the onset of cold weather. For example, mute swans arrive in Crimea in the middle of winter and leave at its end or in early spring. Migratory birds always spend the winter in warmer regions. The farther north a bird's habitat is, the longer its migration to the wintering grounds will be. Conversely, in regions with a moderate climate, migratory birds make shorter migrations, and sometimes they even stay year-round for the winter. An interesting and complex aspect of studying migratory birds is tracking their migration. How do scientists find out where migratory birds fly? Such research was initially based solely on visual observation. A numbered ring is placed on the bird's leg, and its movements are then recorded through continued observation. This practice is called bird ringing, or banding. More accurate information is provided by radio transmitters, which track their flights with great precision. This allows scientists not only to determine the exact routes of migratory birds but also to identify human-made threats to them and, whenever possible, to take measures to mitigate these dangers. What threatens migratory birds and what dangers do the birds themselves pose? Like most animals, migratory birds suffer significant harm due to human activities, whether intentional or unintentional. The main problem is the destruction of their habitats, stopover sites, and nesting areas caused by human intrusion into the wild, such as the development of wetlands and deforestation. High structures also pose a significant threat to migratory birds, such as high-voltage power line towers, oil platforms, wind turbines, and tall buildings. Migratory birds often die when colliding with these structures. Some tall structures, like monuments or skyscrapers, have lights on top to help airplanes avoid collisions. However, for migratory birds, especially those flying at night, these lights can actually cause disorientation and lead to collisions. Amateur and poacher hunting cause enormous damage to migratory birds. During migration, many birds gather in large flocks, which makes it easier for hunters to make successful shots. There are historic cases where entire bird populations were wiped out by uncontrolled hunting. For example, North America was once home to the passenger pigeon, a migratory species that has been completely extinct for many years due to overhunting. Passenger pigeons migrated in unprecedentedly large flocks, sometimes stretching up to 500 kilometers and numbering in the hundreds of millions. This bird was the most numerous species on the continent, with a population estimated between 5 and 7 billion individuals. However, after the large-scale settlement of European populations on the continent, passenger pigeons were hunted extensively. As a result, the last wild passenger pigeon was killed in 1901, and the last captive individual died in a zoo in 1914. Today, this species is considered extinct. At the end of the 19th century, foundations and societies were established to protect migratory birds and their habitats. Unfortunately, migratory birds travel very long distances across many countries, making it difficult to ensure their safety throughout their entire route. In 2006, Migratory Bird Day was established to raise awareness about the need to protect and conserve migratory birds. Initially, Migratory Bird Day was observed on the second Saturday and Sunday of May. However, since 2016, the International Migratory Bird Day has been celebrated on May 10. Strangely enough, migratory birds also pose a threat to humans and ecosystems as a whole. During migration, migratory birds spread ticks, lice, and other parasites, which can be carriers of various serious diseases. The birds themselves can carry illnesses such as avian influenza. Some diseases are carried by birds without harming their own health. An example of this is West Nile virus fever. 8 species of migratory birds. The white stork is a large bird that primarily inhabits wetlands. This bird can grow up to 125 centimeters in height with a wingspan of up to 2 meters. An adult can weigh between 4 and 5 kilograms. The white stork is one of the largest migratory birds. It is found in the temperate regions of Europe and Asia. White storks make their winter migrations along 2 routes. Birds living west of the Elbe River fly through the Strait of Gibraltar and spend the winter in Africa between the Sahara Desert and the humid tropical forests. White storks living east of the Elbe fly through Turkey and Israel to East Africa. They migrate during the daytime, flying at very high altitudes. In their wintering areas, white storks gather in huge flocks that can number in the thousands. Young birds may remain in the wintering grounds year-round. Number 2, the gray heron, a fairly large migratory bird with an elongated neck and long legs. An adult can weigh more than 2 kilograms. Gray herons are very common and inhabit Europe, Asia, and Africa. In the southernmost parts of their range, they live sedentary lives, while in the more northern regions, they migrate. Number 3, common buzzard, a large migratory bird of prey from the order Accipitriformes. The average body length of the bird is 55 centimeters, with a wingspan of up to 130 centimeters. It inhabits and hunts in sparsely wooded forests and fields across Europe and Asia. It searches for prey from great heights, soaring slowly in the air. Its diet includes field mice and other small rodents, small birds, and rabbits. Number 4, mallard, a migratory bird from the duck family and the most common wild duck. Its body length ranges from 50 to 62 centimeters, with males being slightly larger. The wingspan can reach up to 1 meter. Males and females are easily distinguished by their different plumage. Mallards inhabit Asia, Europe, and Africa. These birds are partially migratory and can sometimes overwinter even in relatively cold regions, such as the Moscow region. However, they often migrate. During migration, they fly in groups of 10 to 20 individuals. In flight, they form a wedge shape and produce a characteristic soft quacking sound, which allows their migration to be tracked even at night. Number 5, Eurasian coot, a medium-sized waterbird. Its body length does not exceed 40 centimeters, wingspan can reach up to 70 centimeters, and weight ranges from 0.5 to 1.5 kilograms. Its plumage is dark gray, sometimes almost black. It has a white spot on its head, and its beak is also white. The eyes are red. Number 6, common cuckoo, a medium-sized bird. Its body length is about 33 centimeters, wingspan up to 65 centimeters, and weight does not exceed 200 grams. Males have gray or dark gray plumage, with a light belly featuring dark transverse stripes. Number 7, Eurasian moorhen, a small bird with a body length of up to 30 centimeters, a wingspan no longer than 53 centimeters, and a weight of up to 200 grams. Its feathers have a very beautiful coloration, the center is dark chocolate brown, while the edges are light gray and beige. Males have grayish-blue patches on their neck and the sides of their head. Number 8, common swift, a small bird with a body length of only 18 centimeters and a wingspan of 45 centimeters. Thanks to its body structure, wing shape, and size, this bird can reach speeds of over 110 kilometers per hour. Swifts spend most of their lives in flight. Many birds dislike winter and migrate to warmer regions. This raises the question, why do migratory birds return? In summer, the wintering areas become hot, which the birds do not particularly like, just as they dislike the winter cold. Therefore, they return to their usual habitats to feed, build nests, and lay eggs. That's all. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe to the channel.